Why do sellers and for sale by owners not hiring you as their agent? Is it because they don't want to need an agent? Is it because they don't want to pay a commission? Is it because they want you to bring them a buyer and they'll pay you commission? Is it because they need time to think about it? Or is it because they believe they could sell it on their own? Does that sound familiar? Those are the major objections that real estate agents usually get. But those are not the real issues, in my experience. The number one reason why you that are listening to this podcast and this audio, the number one reason why you are not getting more contracts and more sellers to hiring you is because of one word. And that word is value. That's right. Most sellers and for sale by owners do not see value in agents. There's a reason for that. Even though they truly need an agent, since they don't see no value in the agents they have dealt with, they will not hire them. They will not hire you. And so why is that the case? Because most real estate agents and realtors, number one, don't understand what their skill really is and how valuable it is or should be. So if you cannot convey your value to the seller and get them to want what they need, which is a real estate agent, meaning you, if you can't show that and they're looking for that, how you expect to get a contract? How do you expect to get more great listings? How can you expect to develop and build profitable relationships? Just impossible. Does that make sense? So, what I encourage you agents that are listening to this, and I train agents for a living. Now, I want to put a disclaimer. I'm not a real estate agent, not licensed, but I understand their profession better than them. I train them I train clients that are agents. I train them how to become more than a real estate agent. I teach and train them how to be more valuable, more effective to the seller to getting more contracts. So, if you don't know your skill and you don't know how valuable your skill is, then you're going to have a hard time producing sales and getting deals done. That's just my personal opinion. So, what do you need to do to improve, to grow, and to become more than a real estate agent and become a successful realtor and broker? First thing you have to understand is that you are a salesperson first in the beginning stages. However you initially communicate with the seller, you must know, accept, and understand that you got to change your way of thinking. And that thinking is this: you are a salesperson first. And what a salesperson does is shows, gives, and paint the picture through the tonality of their voice, the value that the seller needs to see, feel, touch, taste, and know. And asking about square footage and pricing of the home, that adds no value as a salesperson, in my opinion. Because the real estate agent is the commodity. The real estate agent is the ticket. The real estate agent is the one that makes things happen, right? But the salesperson sets the tone for the real estate agent. So once you get a contract, then you become and transition into the real estate agent. That's just my personal opinion, and it works. So what can you do to increase your value? Well, first of all, you have to talk about your experience and the way it should be conveyed to the seller. But here are 3 things that you need to master and learn and make it part of your DNA for you to become a successful real estate agent. Number 1 is you must learn, know, and change how you engage the seller. Because engagement sets the tone for the rest of the selling process and the potential relationship. Here's the downside. If you do a good engagement, you better fulfill that engagement. What do I mean by that? Engagement is an emotional action. And that emotion has to be satisfied, has to be fulfilled. It's like you get excited about a movie, you see a trailer on it or promotion on it, you can't wait to go see it, you go to the theater or you wait for Netflix, whatever the case may be. The opening is awesome. And as you're going through the movie and watching the movie, you're disappointed. Your emotions are shot. You're not satisfied. You're disappointed. It's the same thing between a real estate agent and a seller or for sale by owner. So engagement. The second thing that I learned that real estate agents don't really do very well for whatever reason. Either they don't know, they're not taught, or they just got bad habits. The second thing is master the art of rebuttals. You're probably saying, what the hell are you talking about? That's right. 90% in my experience in selling all different types of services and products, 90% of the sale happens how you handle objections with powerful rebuttals. Those are weapons. And when a seller tells you, I don't need or want an agent, you have to know how to diffuse that. Why? Because rebuttals accomplishes 3 things that are very important. The first thing it does, it diffuses the weak objections. And if you can't diffuse it, it would always keep coming back. So once you diffuse it, the second thing that happens and transitions into, it increases your value. That's right. Rebuttals, if it's done properly and the weapons are used properly, it will and should increase your value. Why? Because if they never been spoken to that way with rebuttals that they've never heard of, and it makes sense, they start to respect you more. They don't see you as the other agents. They see you different and unique. And that's a psychological thing that they don't even realize is going on. But you should realize that. So it increases your value. Once you increase your value and they have confidence with you, the third thing that should take place, and it usually happens automatic, is you start to transition into storytelling. And just by the way, from the beginning of a call, you're in the storytelling mode. So storytelling is throughout the whole process, just like a movie. But it's one of the stages that you really need to master. From the opening to the body to the end of the movie or to the end of the selling. You have to know how to tell very powerful, engaging, effective storytelling. You got to have conviction. You got to have confidence. You have to be able to paint pictures that they could see, feel, touch, and taste. And that they're part of that story because they are the story. Does that make sense? And if you think storytelling is not important, then you really don't understand selling. Because everything we do in life is revolved around a story. Let me give you an example. Let's say you go watch a movie and you're excited about it, whether it's on Netflix or the theater, however you watch this movie, and you totally love the movie. You're going to tell your friends about it or family members, but you're going to be excited about it that you're going to tell it in a story, right? It's just the way it is. Here's another example. You listen to a podcast, you really were engaged, it made a difference in your mindset and made some changes in your life. You're going to talk to people about it, right? In a story, because you're excited about it. Here's another example. Listen to a good song or listen to good music, right? You got emotional, you're emotionally wild up. You want to share that with other people. You're going to tell it in a story. Watching entertainment, sports, going to events. Everything we do in life is revolved around story. So if you know that, why not become dynamic in storytelling and get paid very well for it? And you real estate agents and realtors, don't think for 1 minute that the seller does not want to be engaged and does not want to hear a good story. And the story they need to hear is how valuable you are and can be to them in helping them sell their property. That's the value. And just think about this. Every time you're communicating with people, you go to any event, either somebody's going to tell you their story about them or what they do or whatever the case, or you're going to tell them about yours, right? It's still storytelling. It's called communication. It's called relationships. So, just to recap, the 3 things real estate agents must learn to master and understand is they have to understand the difference between being a salesperson and an agent. That's first and foremost that you really need to understand and grasp. Okay? But the 3 things you must master is the ability to get the seller totally engaged in what you're saying. Engagement, which is part of storytelling. Second thing is master and learn the rebuttals you need to overcome any of those objections that they may throw at you. Because that's not the real objection. The real objection is they know they need an agent, but they don't want an agent because they don't see value in them. So you got to get them to want what they need, which is you, the real estate agent or realtor. Then the third thing you must learn is the art of storytelling in two pieces. Number one, you have to know how to tell a story about your value and how you can be valuable to them and why they need to hire you. They need to see that. They need to understand that. They have to believe that. And then the other story that must take place is the story how they visualize the house being sold, how they are involved in it, the stories about them. And the way you do that is the way you handle their objections with rebuttal. That's the story they feel. That's the value they see. Does that make sense? So anyway, guys, I hope this was helpful. Thank you for listening to my podcast. Mindset and Attitude podcast, because again, selling is a mindset, closing is an attitude, and finally, your actions, everything you do is tied directly to how you think and what you think about. Does that make sense? So anyway, till we speak again, I say goodbye and talk to you later. Have a very successful day. Bye. The most valuable skill you can learn is to become a dynamic, powerful, and exciting sales person.